Hello, everyone. I hope you're well. Welcome to All Things Legal, where we make legal concepts more easy for you to understand and for you to be able to learn. So, today we'll be talking about how to draft a plaint. And the first thing we'll ask ourselves is what is a plaint? So, a plaint is a form of a pleading, and a pleading and pleadings generally are formal documents used to commence or defend suits. This is provided for under Order 3, Rule 1 of the Civil Procedure Rules, and it dictates that every suit shall be instituted by presenting a plaint to the court or in such other manner as may be prescribed. So generally, always check if the applicable or relevant law provides for a specific way to institute a suit. If not, the default way is through a plaint. So there are other ways you can institute a suit, maybe through maybe you want to make an application, so you use a notice of motion, or maybe the applicable law is asking you to use an originating summons. So always look at the applicable law and see if it provides for a specific way or a document that you should use. For example, if it's a petition, things like those, things like those. And if not, then the default way is through a plaint. So that's why it's the most common used, let's say, um, pleading, and it's important to be able to know how to draft one. So, what are its contents? Um, the plaint can be divided into three main sections, that is the caption, the body, and the footer, and we'll be going through each one of them, and then also at the end of explaining each one, we'll draft one with you. We'll draft an example of a complete plaint with you. So, what is in the caption? The caption contains the name of the court that has jurisdiction, the parties involved, and the title of the document, and the case track. For example, as you can see here, Republic of Kenya in the Chief Magistrates Court at Kiambu, civil case number dash of 2022. These are the parties, it's a plaint, and it's a fast track. So first, as we know, jurisdiction is everything. As we know, jurisdiction is everything, and you cannot go before a court without proper jurisdiction. So, if it's a children's case, there's a children's court. I should go there. If it's a high court matter, it should go to the high court. If it's a matter that should go to the magistrate court, then you should be able to capture the right jurisdiction in the caption. Okay. So this document is a plaint, so that's why we have written plaint. There are the parties, there's the plaintiff, and there's the defendant. Then there's the case track. A case track is determined by whether, for example, if it's a small claim, this refers to a simple claim whose monetary value does not exceed 200,000 shillings. If it's a fast track, this refers to a case with undisputed facts and legal issues with relatively few parties and would likely be concluded within 180 days after the pretrial directions. Then there's also a multi-track. This refers to a case with complex facts and legal issues or several parties and which would likely be concluded within 240 days from the date of pretrial direction. So depending on where your case falls, then you determine your case track. Okay, so then now let's go to the body. The body of the plaint describes the parties involved, both the plaintiff and the defendant, or if there are many, the plaintiffs and the defendant. And by description, we mean their name, their description, whether they are male or female, whether they are of sound mind, whether they are citizens of Kenya, or if it's a corporate, you describe the corporate, and yeah, and what it does. Then, uh, under description, also there is the place of residence and their address for service. This is where you will be serving them these documents. Then it also describes where the cause of action arose and the claim or cause of action in detail. It provides a brief statement of all the material facts the plaintiff relies on for his or her claim. And also in the body, you will be able to expound on any necessary particulars because this is a requirement under Order 2, Rule 10, which says that every pleading shall contain the necessary particulars of any claim. Yeah, so if it's negligence, you'll give the particulars of negligence. If it's fraud, if it's a breach of trust, if it's misrepresentation, you should be able to give the particulars that relate to that claim. Okay. Um, The body will also include an averment that there is no other suit pending and that there have been no previous proceedings in any court between the plaintiff and defendant over the same subject matter, and that the cause of action relates to the plaintiff named in the plaint. You should also be able to demonstrate to the court that it has jurisdiction over the matter. And lastly, convey your prayers or ask. This is where you tell the court what you want them to do for you, what would be the relief you're seeking. Okay. Then lastly, the last part of the plaint is the footer. This part contains the date, the name of the advocate for the plaintiff, details of the law firm that has drawn and filed the plaint, the persons to be served upon the defendants. So now we'll look at an example. I'll give you an example of how a plaint would look like if you were drafting it. But there are other things you should note just even before you draft it, and that is every pleading. Let me just pass through you. Every pleading shall be divided into paragraphs numbered consecutively, each allegation being, so far as appropriate, contained in separate paragraphs. So the pleadings are in paragraphs and they should be numbered consecutively. And the other thing you should note when drafting is that dates, sums, and other numbers shall be expressed in figures and not words. Yeah, and lastly, you should also note that every pleading shall contain only a statement in a summary form of the material facts on which the party pleading relies for his claim or defense, but not the evidence by which those facts are to be proved. So pleadings only reflect facts and not evidence. And the statement shall be as brief as the nature of the case admits. So here's our example. We have the caption, Republic of Kenya in the Chief Magistrates Court at Kiambu, civil case number dash of 2022. It's a dash because you're given the number at the registry when you present your plaint. Okay. So we have the plaintiff, Masimzuri, versus the defendant, Motombaya. It is a plaint. It is a fast track because it has simple legal issues, has few parties to the case also, and it can be resolved within 180 days. So the first statement is we will be describing who the plaintiff is. So the plaintiff is a female adult of sound mind residing in Kiambu County within the Republic of Kenya. Her address of service for purposes of this suit is Care of Legal and Company Advocates, Taifa Building, second floor, suit 16 of PO Box 000 Kiambu. So we have described the plaintiff, in paragraph 1. Then we go to paragraph 2, where we're going to describe the defendant. The defendant is a male adult of sound mind residing and working for gain in Kiambu County within the Republic of Kenya. Service of summons upon him shall be effected through the plaintiff's advocate's office. So we probably don't know where he lives or where he works, but so service will be effected through the plaintiff's advocate's office. The advocate will be able to locate him and find him. Number 3, on or about 20th August 2022 at Kiambu Road within Kiambu County, the plaintiff was lawfully crossing the road when the defendant negligently drove his car of registration number XX, causing it to hit the plaintiff. Okay. Then now you describe the particulars of negligence because you have pleaded there negligence. You're supposed to give particulars of that. So particulars of negligence: A, failure to keep a proper lookout while driving to avoid hitting the plaintiff. B, failure to observe and respect the zebra crossing guidelines. C. Driving at an excessive speed in the circumstances. D. Failing to brake in time to avoid hitting the plaintiff. E. Driving while fatigued and under the influence. Then paragraph 4. As a consequence of the accident aforesaid, the plaintiff suffered multiple injuries. Then you'll give the particulars of the injuries: a fractured left arm, fractured left hip, fractured left ribs. As a result of the injuries described above, the plaintiff suffered loss and damages. Then you will give, because you're supposed to show which damages you suffered, you shall provide the particulars of special damages, which are the medical expenses and future medical expenses, and you should have um, receipts for this medical expense for special damages. Um, then 6, there are no pending proceedings and there have been no previous proceedings between the same parties on the same subject matter, and the cause of action relates to the plaintiff named herein. 7, the cause of action arose in Kiambu within the jurisdiction of this honorable court. 8, a demand letter has been issued, but the defendant has failed, refused, and/or neglected to make good the plaintiff's claim. Reasons wherefore the plaintiff prays for judgment against the defendant for A. Special damages for Kenya 600,000, and B. General damages for pain and suffering, and C. Costs. You should just generally note that if you don't give out a demand letter, it's very hard for you to ask for costs and get it. So always issue a demand letter first. Um, yeah, but I think basically we've seen everything that we talked about that was covered from the caption to the body and to the footer. If you have any questions, please leave them at the um, comment section and we shall be able to review them. But I hope that this has been very helpful. So now we go to the footer. So dated at Kiambu, this dash day of dash 2022, then the advocate will sign, legal and company advocates, advocate for the plaintiff. You should also indicate that the firm that drew and filed the plaint. So we have the details there: legal and company advocates, Taifa Building, second floor, 16, PO Box 00, Kiambu. And then you should also lastly indicate the persons to be served upon. And here in this case, the defendant is the one to be served upon, and so to be served upon, Motombaya, service of summons through the plaintiff's advocate. And that is the end of your plaint. So there are things to note when you're drafting a plaint. You can't just present that to the registry or to the court. There are accompanying documents that should also be filed when you're filing the plaint. So note, every plaint must be accompanied by a verifying affidavit sworn by the plaintiff, verifying the correctness of the averments contained in the plaint. You should also accompany the plaint with a list of witnesses to be called at the trial, if there are any, and written statements signed by the witnesses, and copies of documents to be relied on at the trial. For example, there are medical receipts in this case, and let's say the OB if we went to the police station, things like that. I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you have a sense of how to draft a plaint, and give this video a thumbs up so that you support it. Please subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free and it supports me to be able to make this content for free. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here and God bless you.